Hey, how's it going? It's Man Tomorrow here. I want to thank you guys for coming through on this Sunday night here. Um, now, uh, again, Charlie Kirk was not a good person. He didn't do good things. Flag shouldn't be lowered to half staff for a culture warrior. Okay, he didn't fight for everybody in the country. He was not a statesman of any type. So when you seen all these men in the Black Manosphere of all places doing all these RIP Charlie Kirk streams, I just found it kind of strange because none of these people have covered Turning Point in USA, not one of those public events, not in no year that I've ever been in the Black Manosphere, because it's quite a bit smaller actually than CPAC. These so-called conservatives never cover CPAC as well. Because when you look at CPAC, CPAC ain't got nothing to do with you. CPAC got everything to do with actual conservatives that they actually fight for. They're not fighting for you. Conservatism is a tiered system that leaves you out of the actual process on purpose, because that's what conservatism's job is to treat you like an other because they're Americans. And if you complain about anything that's wrong with America, then you have the problem, not America. America's already always perfect. We already know Charlie Kirk was no friend to the LGBT community. He was no friend to the Black community as well. He said plenty of things about how there shouldn't have been emancipation for slaves, how there shouldn't have been a Civil Rights Act. Crazy stuff. But at the end of the day, this is a person who was celebrated by corporate America, because corporate America paid for this guy to run his culture war on all these people across the United States. Nope, not talking about it at all. It's going on full circle. Give a shout out to the people who's here. Ronan Song, that Toxic Gianna, Empress, Bishop, Inquisitive Prince, Cedric Webb, Cynical One, what's going on? And you have to understand that when conservatives are talking about free speech, they're talking about free speech within their people. They don't care about you and your free speech, right? Let's talk about this. Let's call it a suspension, because I don't think the guy's going to get fired from that network at all. Because what he did is in no part any less than what Fox News does on a 24-hour basis. Now, what Fox News does on a 24-hour basis, they actually do the actual thing that they claimed that he was doing. Like, Fox News' job is to misrepresent factual information and foment hatred for liberals. That's their business model. That's always been their business model since 1996. And I would say, without Fox News, I don't think conservatives would have been as successful as actually pushing this stuff down on people, because they just cannot win any argument on the debate stage. They can't win an argument on the debate stage because most of these professional conservatives, they don't even live in conservative America. What's going on, girl?
Hey, how you doing, MOT? Yeah, you bring up a really good point as far as, Fox TV. That was actually, that was really Roger Ailes and that whole crew that really they kind of segued out of the, and then you had Cheney and all those guys who were part of that. They segued out of the Nixon administration. They came out of that. And what they really put together was Republican Party television. That's what that was. That evolved from that. Literally coming out after Nixon, and those guys, then taking pretty pretty big beating, you know, after the Nixon thing went down, and then, you know, you had Carter and them come in. But once that sailed out, and then Reagan came back in, and so forth, and then back in the mid to late 80s, these guys really had gotten Fox up and running, and really got that going, and that's where that has been. That hasn't changed since, as far as their goal, as far as getting more conservative Republican television out there, and they definitely were able to do that. That station is, or that network is, the station of the Republican Party, and
Yes.
that's how that was actually formed. So they came out of the Rumsfeld and all, and they came all out of that, and Roger Ailes directly out of the Nixon camp, and they went and got that Fox thing together, and that's where they've been ever since. That's what that has been. That's its DNA.
Yeah, but what they do is they hire these people to come on the air and just repeat their talking points.
That's
and it's very easy for people to come online and just claim that they're conservative. It's so crazy how easy that is for you not to debate anyone, for you not to try to fix any problem, and you're just conservative just because.
But that's been their game since that time. They've stuck to that business model for the last 40 years, damn near. You know,
it's so easy. Literally anybody can do it. Yeah. Anybody can just set up shop and become a professional conservative. It's not even that hard.
And they're grabbing old Democrats and others and throwing them in there and recycling them into this. They've got a whole machine. That machine has been built over well over a generation, and that's what they've been doing, MOT. That's what they've been doing, and they have been successful, very successful at it.
Oh yeah. I mean, as much as they talk about propaganda, like, dude, the right does nothing, and it's not just TV. If you go up and down the AM dial, and some actual big stations on the FM dial, between the hours of, at least in Colorado, 6 a.m. to like 10 p.m., there are many conservative programming stations all up and down the AM dial. And I mean, they're all on there.
No question about it. And they're all offshoots, and they all have fallen out of that whole, fallen out of that, that pretty much network, and they've created their own they've got an ecosystem. That's their ecosystem. And the left, doesn't really have an ecosystem as strong as that, but they were able to do that. They've been very successful in being able to do that. And then then we had some other things to help out there, as you well know, the fairness doctrine going down and everything else like that. And then the Rush Limbaugh and so forth, all these guys who kind of added on and piled on to that has been that's where you've been.
Yeah, what's going on, Mega Dreads gaming channel? All right, so I'm gonna play a clip from Jason Whitlock. That's gonna be the first reaction today. Put the fair use here. Okay, so. So this is if you want to listen to sports commentary, which I don't have a problem with the sports commentary, except when it comes to him throwing black athletes under the bus. But this is his channel here. And this is the video that I'm actually referencing, that I'm going to be playing right here. So fair use, fair use. We're going to be going over this statement that he made about Charlie Kirk. So that way you can see that, dude, something is just wrong with people who have this mind state. And for somebody who actually lives in the South and suffered really no consequences for this type of nonsense is crazy. All right. So this is our first clip that we're going to play and stop at some parts so that way we can respond to it.
It's hard for me to move past this, and I can't believe the down racial line discussion that we're having about Charlie Kirk. It makes no sense, and it's coming from people that have had no access, no relationship, no involvement. I'm going to read for you all. TJ, I'm going to have you respond, and then Virgil, you follow in. This is Ben Watson, who's a noted athlete, Christian, that says all the right things about abortion, but man, he struggles with racial idolatry big time. He put out a message on Facebook. Since hearing of the murder of Charlie Kirk and seeing such unjustifiable graphic violence, my heart has been torn and my spirit uneasy. I was neither fan nor follower of Charlie, but I was aware of his influence. While respecting his humanity and right to dialogue, my critique of his words and opinions was pointed. I found Charlie's verbal attacks on Black men, women, and their achievement reprehensible and utterly inexcusable. His derogatory words were a form of violence and dehumanization. He routinely amplified stereotypes and platformed prejudice, giving license to masses with similar sentiments. He did this while routinely claiming the name of Jesus. Perhaps this has been the most difficult part for me to wrestle with. Charlie's record is reminiscent of an American Christianity that proclaimed freedom and hope in Christ while clamping fetters of iron, law, tradition, and practice on Black Americans, including brothers and sisters of the same Christ it purported to follow. It is what abolitionist Frederick Douglass described when he lamented the distinction between the Christianity of Christ and the Christianity of this land. This is the tension I feel, the paradox of the moment in conversations about Kirk's life and legacy. By many accounts, Charlie was a believer. If so, what makes him, if that makes him a brother in Christ, an ambassador of the faith, but one who levied irreparable hurt without remorse or repentance? Empathy compels me to understand the emotional outpouring of the millions who identified with his convictions, who saw him as a son, brother, leader, and friend. I mourn with them. Yet a faithful, honest recollection of his work cannot deny his errors and their harmful impact, not only on fellow image bearers and their families, including my own, but to the truth of the gospel. Charlie Kirk's death was no reason to celebrate. It was an evil, unconscionable act that has left me questioning our future in an ominous way. From the innocent preborn to the rightfully convicted, loss of human life is always sobering. Charlie was an image bearer whose life had inherent value. His rhetoric, as damaging as it may have been, does not change that. I'm still shocked at what I've witnessed and am processing its implications. I think we all are. The truth will come to light, all of it. May justice prevail. Hats off to whoever helped Ben Watson write that or who wrote that for Benjamin Watson. I find it mostly smoke and mirrors, sound and fury signifying nothing. But TJ, what did you think?
I need you guys to pray for me that I can forgive somebody who is this ignorant. And I mean that. I have a lot of disdain for Ben Watson for what the damage that he's done over the years. And this adds to it. Ben Watson, I think, reads the Bible, at least contends to. He should know that Proverbs 6 states the things that God hates. One of them is a lying tongue, and he lied about every word of what he just said about Charlie Kirk. And he's either too ignorant or too naive to look it up and take 5 seconds to figure out the context. The thing that really frustrated me, he said, yet a faithful and honest recollection of his work cannot deny his errors, fine, and their harmful impact on not only fellow image bearers and their families, including my own. He's acting like Charlie Kirk's words harmed his family. Somebody explain that to me. Somebody help me out.
No. Charlie Kirk's words harmed other people's families, which for some reason they don't understand. They don't understand that what came out of his mouth, his own words being played back, which is actually being scrubbed from the internet, by the way. That's what we're criticizing. His work is what we're criticizing. He was not a fan of not equal protection under the law. He wasn't. He was just your standard bearer, right-wing troll, except for he was just paid by millionaires to get younger people to come out to vote against their own best interests.
And he was also there to preach a certain level of hatred, in a sense.
Yeah, dog whistle racism. That's all he was doing. It's not hard.
And he wanted to hype people up, really, to go so much against the left. That's their business, is to move against the left, and that's pretty much what he was really trying to push. Now that backfired on him, and other people knew that's where he was going, and given the history of this country, and looking at many of these political shootings and murders and so forth, literally going from Kennedy right on down to people like George Wallace. I think the first real political hit we saw was that was kind of like this was the American Nazi, the individual who started the American Nazi Party. Why am I forgetting his name, Mo2? Do you remember? He started the American Nazi Party and was ultimately killed by his by one of his own ex-partners. But he was out there pushing, this narrative in the 50s and in the 60s, really. And he was a former veteran, and he was a veteran, and he pushed the same thing, and it came back on him. But this is nothing new. This is a part of this American ecosystem in that respect. This is a part of that, and this has existed here for a while, and they just ran this
on the airwaves.
They ran this young boy straight into it, and I feel he was kind of young. He wasn't really seeing. I'm handling all that money, handling this big piece, running the game that they were running. He didn't anticipate what was coming down the pike, and that was that's really sad. And that wasn't done by the left or anybody else. That was done by his people, and they ran him into this. So rather sad to see how this is going on, but this is not a surprise, and it shouldn't have been one. Now they're trying to galvanize this as their move to go against the fascists and make their rather Hitlerian moves in certain respects. But some of this is being called out, and it's being called out fairly openly, and they're using this individual once again as a method to do that. So I'm just, we just have to keep our eyes on this. But this is what we see. This is what's going on, and this is what these guys are calling out.
I just find this stuff just crazy. Every time I look at it, it's just nuts that we're criticizing a very specific thing. We're talking in specificities, but they seem to be talking in generalities for some reason.
Yeah. Well, they're trying to gin up that. They're trying to gin up that whole base. They're really trying. There's a larger, as we know, there's a larger agenda, and he was just a part of that. And now that he got obliterated, now they're trying to utilize that to further that agenda as well, to further weaponize it, as we see.
Hey, thank you for the $5.99 super chat. Charlie Kirk said we should bring back public deletions. Then he was publicly deleted.
Yeah. This comes back on you.
I mean, but see, he says a lot of crazy stuff, and it's like it's so much. Renaissance man, I'm trying to actually click on that, but that's not giving me a video. It's only showing me a picture of something. It's not showing me a video because after a person says something like that, we should literally go over what some of the crazy stuff that came out of this dude's mouth, right? And it's obvious what kind of a crew that he was trying to galvanize. And it's very obvious where he took his conversational points to. It's very obvious where he took those things to, right?
Yeah. Very. Oh, what I wanted to say was, yeah, the founder of the American Nazi Party, who was killed by his own, very similar to what we've seen here, George Lincoln Rockwell. I just wanted to mention his name. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So let's play some more. It's great that he had to bring on his overseer to actually, set the stage for what's going on here. I think that's kind of crazy, but
Charlie Kirk, who you weren't a fan of, admittedly, and you did not follow, admittedly, you said earlier, was harming your family. Ben, help me out. And so I really don't like this guy. How can you tell me that a guy who has a scripture for every single one of his political positions? This is what Charlie Kirk did. Charlie Kirk showed up and he would argue with people and he would say, I can defend this. How would you like me to defend this? I can either do it from a secular perspective or I can do it from a Christian perspective. And that's how he approached every single argument. And he would come around at the end.
Now, hold on a second. Like, this is what I mean by just letting these people run their mouth on the panel. Okay, Nagone, what was his Christian argument for hoping that if he seen a black pilot, that he would hope that there ain't no DEI stuff going on? What would be the Christian connotation for that? Because remember, he actually used Christianity for everything that he wanted to debate, right?
Yeah, he certainly did, and I don't see one in the Bible or any other place that would actually stand in for that. I just don't see that. Is there one? If there is one, please let me know.
I don't think there's one. Come on. No damn way. To the well that does not exist. At the end of the day, I think evangelical Christians are the most evil people on the planet. They should be banned from talking about Christianity. Because the only thing they strip my Christianity for is the ability to be wholly evil and forgiveness at the end of the day after they live a life that has nothing to do with Christ, period.
Well, the way evangelical Christians kind of look at it, especially from the standpoint of the Old Testament, where, you saw those who would go against the Lord or consider to going against the Lord as they would see it, eliminate them, literally wipe these people out, and then kind of start, and bring it up from scratch. As they move to the New Testament, you can't really talk so much about this so-called genocide, but, you have to be part of what they considered very much the chosen people. So these folks really see themselves as a race of folks who are the ones who are the ultimate ones to rule and to control and truly have the word of God, and everyone else is somewhat beneath them. So it is very much a religion of white supremacy here in this country. It very much is that. And they believe that anything that really steps in or really tries to get in the way of that or shut them down are those who are trying to destroy their empire, and they need to be literally destroyed. And this is what they really do believe in. They really see that. So it is a religion of actual white supremacy. As far as how real Christians or the larger Christian community looks at that, would certainly not look at that the same way. But this is how they see it. This is how they have this practiced here in this country, and that's a big part of it. You see some white people actually calling this out directly, who have come out of that. a movement to a large extent, and or come out of that. I'd say movement, and it's backed up with its religion, but certainly Kirk and his wife and these people, they that's what they absolutely believed in. They absolutely believed in that. So they felt everyone else is kind of is underneath them. Everyone else is underneath them, and certainly Black people are certainly not on that level, and and they let you know exactly how he saw that as well.
And the thing is, like conservatives, like most of the country wants to hear their nonsensical point of view. The thing is, their nonsensical point of view isn't even supposed to be played on the airway. It's supposed to be in some type of private market. But they use the public airways to spread their hatred of other people, which is crazy to me. Like you used to have broadcasting standards, before the ending of the fairness doctrine, which is how they pretty much propagandized the entire country. Because it used to not be that bad, but if they got the stuff piped into these people's heads everywhere, then their heads going to be completely messed up from things going forward. So let's see what else this guy has said.
And listen, if you spend any time watching his videos, Ben Watson, please do it. You can see that in the end, unless it was some crazy activist who was just trying to make a point and who was belligerent, Charlie would back off and say, I'm not trying to pick on you. And he would try to get these people saved, because that's all he was really doing. Charlie, and again, why they had to kill him, was changing hearts and minds and nations, and the politics followed that. And they couldn't stop him, so they killed him. And Ben Watson is talking about how those words harmed his family.
Shamika, I'm going to let you wrap this thing up. I'm going to play a clip from Emmanuel Acho. We'll go back to the low IQ argument here and just but here's Emmanuel Acho talking about Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk's death has led me to an uncomfortable conversation that I want to facilitate. To my white brothers and sisters, how would you hope your minority friends respond to the celebration of Charlie Kirk's life when he has very publicly said things like this?
I live like a capitalist every single day, Shank. I live as a capitalist. Because of DEI, it begs the question, when you see a Black pilot, you wonder, you say, I hope they are qualified. If I'm dealing with somebody in customer service who's a moronic Black woman, I wonder, is she there because of her excellence? And Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously.
Refer to Asian individuals by the C word, a word too violent for me to even utter. Refer to Michelle Obama and Ketanji Brown Jackson of the Supreme Court, both Harvard graduates, as not having the brain processing power to be taken seriously. Suggested that if seeing a Black pilot, would assume they were a DEI hire. To my white brothers and sisters, I'm genuinely asking, how would you like your minority friends to respond to the celebration of his life? Not to his death, but to the celebration of his life.
As I've stated earlier, his life wasn't those opinions that, if heard in context, come off.
You're gone. What the fuck context is Jason Whitlock talking about? He seemed to be pretty specific about what he's talking about in those statements.
He's standing here talking from the Dagobah system. I don't know where the hell this guy's coming from.
What
this shit? He's nowhere near. Like I said, he's out by Rigel 7 or something. This shit is crazy. It's
even after hearing it again, like the white dude was who I hope he's still on there, but he was like, oh, he gave a Christian reasoning for all his arguments. And then they play that. And then he say, well, if you were to heard him in context, dude, I don't think there's no context that you can have. Listen, if you walk into anybody's business and talk like that, you would not have a job. But this guy was allowed to be funded by billionaire people in this country because he wanted people to vote against their own best interests. Yeah, the context is very clear here. Super clear.
Well, certainly race was a major part of what he, and like I said, Charlie Kirk was certainly not alone in this in this in this agenda. He played a role. He was utilized certainly, but he wasn't alone. But yeah, that was a big part of it, the racial piece, and then let's look at all the legislation and stuff that we see going on, or legislation and executive orders and so forth that are coming behind this. He's there, to push that in this context that he came out with was very clear, and backing up exactly what's going on from the administration as well. But anyway, go ahead, MLT.
Again, and then he just pretends like none of that even mattered or make any sense. Somebody, look, he was known for his works. What they're playing is his works. They're not making stuff up. This isn't AI. This isn't a deep fake. That's him.
No, that is actually, I'm looking at this. That's absolutely him. I'm looking at this comment from the unknown one. It's something very interesting. I'll just say this very quickly, and I'll just move on very quickly on MLT, just very quickly. I had heard from somebody who had gone to school with him, who had gone to high school with him, and apparently Kirk had attempted to get into West Point, and he was not accepted. And he was very upset because he wanted to say that he was he got outsat by somebody. Took his seat, who was a black person, a black man, took his place, and that was some affirmative action type of acceptance, and that's what really got him. That's what really got him upset, and that he had railed about this. And while he was in high school, he was pretty much kind of a bully, but he was very race centric at that stage, and he did not get into West Point, and that was the reason. That's what set him on his path, and stated that the reason why he didn't get it was because a black person actually got in his way. So we saw something. So I saw this with a classmate of his who actually came out and spoke on this, and this has not gone across the medium very well. They kept that kind of down. They downplayed that, but that's what seems to maybe have motivated him. So even though he was definitely being used, he was definitely grifting to a certain level and being utilized. Those sentiments, I believe, came from some early failures that he may have had, and he harbored those fairly deep, and he pressed on with those. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, but here's the thing that I don't understand. And this has always been a conservative argument, by the way. Every time affirmative action was challenged, a person don't get into a school, the existence of affirmative action, because a person didn't get into a particular school that they wanted to get into, that was the counter argument. Oh, I didn't get into Cal State or Penn or Columbia. The existence of affirmative action means that all these unqualified blacks don't even know what the criteria is, don't even know who these people are, can't even point to them. But it's just the existence of affirmative action is the reason why all these unqualified people are going before me. But if they would have got in, then the system would have been fine.
Absolutely. Absolutely, because they wanted, that, well, I'm supposed to be in here and you're not supposed to. Regardless whether I am actually the best qualified, I'm supposed to be here and you're not. And that is what this whole thing was really all about. And that's what he was pushing. This started to happen literally from the Bakke decision back in the end of the 70s, beginning of the 80s, 81, 82, Bakke for getting into medical school, and they started chipping away at that then. So this is nothing new. It's been just a steady attack on this. And then people like Charlie Kirk, who was not the sharpest, want to sit down and say that somehow, you know, that he was better than those who got in there over him. Just like he's saying, you know, these black women were unqualified and so forth, but they've come out of, you know, top universities with very high grades, with high achievements. And this individual, you know, dropped out of a junior college. So, I mean, you know, you just got to look at, you know, the kind of story kind of writes itself.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, George Bush got in how? Legacy admissions. I mean, most of these politicians, legacy admissions.
Are you kidding me? My brother was going to go to he's going to go to Yale, and he didn't want to go, but he had he had in the prep school that we went to which was a Boston Latin school. You know, so if you did very well there, you were going to get a shot at the top universities, of which we all had a chance to go to. But he didn't really want to go to Yale. He didn't. But yet we had a guy by the name of Ed Myers, who was actually a of the famous Myers rum family that knew my father very well, and my brother wanted to, you know, he possibly wanted to go to Yale, and I remember my brother his ATC scores, his first semester grades of his senior year, which were all 90s and all that. His ATC scores were very high, and you know, he could have easily gotten to Yale because, of course, Ed Myers of Myers Rum had what was called a dean's seat. So what did that mean? That dean's seat meant that very highly established people like Ed Myers, old white money, whose family went back 200 years in this country and made a lot of money from slavery and so forth. Let's admit that. But yet, you know, we're founders here with old white blue blood money. Had their DEI seats already laid out, so they could put anybody they wanted there. Now, most people don't know about that, but this is something that, you know, that we knew and learned about when we were pretty young. And here this dean seat was, where you could literally get into one of these schools, because, you know, somebody like Ed Myers could come and say, "Hey, listen, I want this person in this university because we think he's an extraordinary student," and you get in. You know, as long as you have the grades, and as long as you have, you know, as long as you have, you know, somewhat of the proper grades, and you've taken all the, you know, the achievement tests and so forth. As long as you have the basic qualifications, you're in. And white people, you know, have this butter laid out all throughout every university that you can think about, and at the highest ones as well. People who have lesser than qualifications are getting in. It's DEI all day, and that's been going down literally since these universities were established. So these are some key things that a lot of people are not really aware of. But when they want to lay the DEI on you when they are the most DEI that you could imagine, and it goes
DEI, good old boy network. It's come on, man. All right, man. So let's hear some of this Christian goodness from this nice Christian man here. Yeah, let's hear some of this stuff right here, because, you know, we must be getting it wrong.
Not very smart. You're representing your nation. You're selfish sociopath. Not very bright, not wise, not somebody of good character. She is a shame to the country. Blacks in America did not have the same rights they had today. Data shows they were actually better in the 1940s. Let's get loud for Kyle Rittenhouse. I'm also going to offer some context and some nuance about the death of George Floyd that no one dares to say out loud, which is that this guy was a scumbag. Remember what BLM stands for: burn, loot, and murder. Now, does that mean it deserves to die? That's two totally different things. Of course not. Prowling blacks go around for fun to go target white people. That's a fact. There's no such thing as white privilege or racism. So black people are allowed to talk about black culture in a way that white culture cannot. Black people can go up and say that there's a baby mama problem in Black America, and white people are not allowed to say that. Oh, I just did. So what are you gonna do? Cancel me? Black people are allowed to say. Black people are allowed to say. I'm a grown man. I got way too much. Black people are allowed. Skin color. A generation of weak people like Simone Biles. LeBron James is a self-interested, narcissistic, And we know he's not very smart. You're representing your nation. You're selfish sociopath, not very bright, not wise, not somebody of good character. She is a shame to the country. Blacks in America did not have the same rights.
Yeah, this guy.
Time celebration. Oh, wow, look how far blacks have come. It has now become a racial complaining day. Thomas Sowell and Justice Clarence Thomas are far better black role models to celebrate than Martin Luther King. This guy is not worthy of an.
What? What?
He was up in there talking cash shit. Talking
This
cash
dude
shit.
Dude, listen. This dude was a come on, man.
he was,
man.
He was talking cash shit up in there, but you know, he was a young boy.
He did.
He was a young boy.
Thomas Sowell and Clarence Thomas are better role models than that. And it's like this guy was such an acceptable white supremacist, right? And they just had this dude around, and everybody pretended like that this dude wasn't on that type of time. He knew he was a troll. Yes. And I'm sorry he got his subscription, canceled to Life the magazine, but the dude wasn't a good dude, man. He wasn't a good dude.
The thing
at all.
I think the thing that bothers me so much about his killing was, this guy had an opportunity. He would have had an opportunity after all this is going on, and what's going to happen in the future as this stuff gets burned away. He would have. I believe he would have had a chance to literally kind of maybe even repent from some of what he had to say. It's just sorry that was taken away from him. That was taken from him. I think that's what I think was really tragic about that, because this guy
never got to turn it around. He never got to turn it around.
He there was an opportunity. The future was definitely going to have an opportunity for him to do that, but that didn't happen. That was taken from him. That was taken from him, and I'm going to look at here and say, yeah, that was tragic. That was tragic. This guy was way on the wrong path. He was young. He was, and I'm going to say this: he was in over his head.
He was paid to say these things. He was paid a lot of money to say these things.
The game this guy was in and how this thing was played, he was in over his head.
Dude, this performative conservatism, and I'm going to call it performative conservatism, that this dude was practicing, is impractical in society to go anywhere and behave like this. It is impractical. Like, if your boss, regardless of what business that you're in, would go around saying some of the stuff that came out of this dude's mouth, dude, you would have a lawsuit on your hands, right? But everybody keep trying to pretend that this dude is something that he was not. So let's keep hearing some more of this Christian man.
National holiday.
There's a mythology around MLK that does not warrant the reverence that he gets treated with in America.
See,
that's unreal.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, and it's like a normal person on TV would never get away with saying that.
Unreal.
But remember, everything Charlie Kirk says, he backs up from a Christian point of view. I think the point of view is pretty clear there. But let's hear some more of this.
You have a federal holiday to a guy that talked about race all the time.
Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true.
We celebrate the Civil Rights Act more than the American founding.
The country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also,
that's not a deep fake. That's not a deep fake. No. He said this. Remember, corporate America paid this guy to go out and say these things. This guy got a military flyover. Flags are at half staff for this unabashedly piece of garbage. I'm sorry. But do I think he actually believed these things? No. I think it's conservatism, as all conservatism of this type, is incredibly performative. It is incredibly performative. It's not practical. They don't bring people together or anything like that. So when people are like, oh, Charlie Kirk died, like, yeah, this dude said a lot of crazy stuff. Lots. So let's keep going.
So true. The Democrats are not lifting a finger to remember the well over 100 people that have died in Texas Hill Country. The death toll likely would not have been as high if it wasn't for DEI.
No.
He blamed the drowning of those nearly 100 people on DEI.
But others were doing that, but he was pushing that as well. That's unreal. I mean, this
not the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, who gave these people plenty of warning about how quickly things would flood, because that's their job.
It's inflammatory.
It was DEI's fault.
Inflammatory.
Angie Brown Jackson is what your country looks like on critical race theory. You're
you just gotta let some of this play. You just gotta let some of this play, bro.
No, I mean, but you gotta let it sink in, man. That this guy is such a Christian guy, right?
I mean, this is.
You're gonna remove my appendix, and you're a black lesbian. Ketanji Brown Jackson is an embodiment of now gets the tyranny that we currently live on. She's an ideological, unintelligent, yet confident fanatic. Why does Kirk believe passing the Civil Rights Act was a mistake? Now, again, apparently they don't listen to the show because we do that at least once a week, right? So she wants to be the first ever black woman on the Supreme Court, yet she won't even admit that she's a woman. The transgender movement is an introductory phase. These doctors need to be put in prison to get you to strip yourself of your humanity. A Nuremberg-style trial to mesh with machines. Interestingly, I think there is an argument to bring back the MRS degree. Reject feminism. Young women need to get married at a younger age and start having kids. I'm studying sociology. No, you're not. We know why you're here. Submit to your husband, Taylor. You're not in charge. You will find a husband if you have the intent to find a husband. You got to change your name. If not, you don't really mean it.
Democrat women want to die alone without children.
A lot of them are on birth control too, and birth control really screws up female brains, by the way.
It's really rich. I didn't know.
The tyranny that we currently live on. She's an ideological, unintelligent, yet confident fanatic.
Women not to complain 50 years ago. That's funny. We should tell them to stop freezing their eggs and start finding their partner earlier and have lots of babies.
Every single one of you need to make sure that your loved ones are not on birth control. So materially insane to think that 1 in 5 American women will be raped in their life.
It is. I agree.
No, meaning that they're lying about being raped.
You're comparing abortion to the Holocaust.
Absolutely, I am. In fact, it's worse. It's worse because Jewish donors have been the #1 funding mechanism of radical, open border, neoliberal, quasi-Marxist policies. And by the way, this is my other problem with death penalty. It takes too long, too many appeals. It should be public. It should be quick. It should be televised. What?
Whew, my. Oh, how they say I loved how they say it in Portuguese. Meu Deus. My Lord.
Ding, ding, ding. You got it.
My Lord. Wow. That's
public. It should be quick. And it should be televised.
Wow. That's wow. I'm sorry he was killed. He really needed to live to repent this.
He was a conservative troll. That's what he was doing. He was trolling his audience, and people loved it. Wow.
Well, at what age should you start to see public execution?
16. I think you could do it earlier. I think you maybe at age 12.
I want to watch that execution. That'll make my day better. A lot. I mean, Joe Biden is a bumbling, dementia-filled, Alzheimer's, corrupt tyrant who should honestly be put in prison and or given the death penalty for his crimes against America.
The Democrat Party women not to complain 50 years ago. That's funny. We should tell them to stop freezing their eggs.
Party believes everything that God hates. Like, we're dealing with maggots, vermin, and swine here. These are not good people. They're not even a little bit good. In fact, I know people that went to Haiti passively as like agnostic atheists, and they came back searching for Jesus because they saw like legit demonic activity. Kamala Harris wants to see the elimination of the United States of America.
Democrat Party supports everything that God hates.
There's not much you can do, folks. You have a government that hates you. You have a traitor as a president. Buy weapons. I keep on saying that. As top Republicans reject any link between GOP rhetoric and Paul Pelosi assault. If some amazing patriot out there in San Francisco wants to really be a midterm hero, someone should go and bail this guy out, native-born American.
Wow. I mean, this is unreal. I mean, this is unreal. I mean, you know, look, we understand why this talk and these people who were literally paying and pushing him more and more into this I don't see how Charlie Kirk himself didn't see this. I mean, that's why I'm saying he was in over his head.
Dude, he was a public troll. He was trolling these people. He was a troll. Okay.
Americans, you better buy weapons, everybody. Have a lot of guns at your disposal. I would never leave your home without a weapon. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect.
Party believes everything.
It is worth having some gun deaths every single year to protect the ability to have the Second Amendment. This dude had no time to walk any of this back. No time.
Tragic. Tragic had to go out this way. Tragic.
Or other God-given rights. We actually need looser gun laws because I think that Oh yeah, they said we have more guns at the Turning Point HQ than you could imagine. Yeah, if anyone ever tries to come, that will not end well. Oh no! Imagine the world without Joy Reid. Imagine the world without Sheila Jackson Lee or Michelle Obama or Ketanji Brown Jackson.
I am channeling the emotions of millions of conservatives who are angry. They knew Charlie. They loved Charlie. They view Charlie as a mainstream conservative Republican.
Damn. This is a fucking sacrifice. Holy shit. This
dude was a public troll. This is all the stuff that he said. So let's now go back to, since we just got a refresher on who we're actually talking about, let's go back to this guy right here. Since we clearly heard what we heard and saw what we saw, let's see what this guy is going to say about it.
Completely different. And if Acho had taken the time to figure out that Chink, I think his last name is Unger or Unger or whatever, he works for Young Turks, I think, or used to. He's calling someone by their name. He's not calling them a chink. Acho couldn't be bothered with doing that level of research as it relates to taking Kirk out of context at every turn and just leaning into sound bites. If you're not wise enough to go look and judge someone in full context and just not judge them off distorted sound bites, and if you're man enough to handle a conversation that, like, hey, DEI has been so prevalent, affirmative action has been so prevalent that rational people can sit around and argue, hey man, did they get this job on merit? Or is this bald-headed black woman that is on ESPN talking about hockey, did she get that job on merit Or did she get it because ESPN wanted to put a bald-headed black woman on their sportscast? Is Mina Kimes talking in a little tiny Asian woman? She talking NFL on ESPN because of merit, or did they give her the job because of DEI? These are legitimate questions. You don't have to ball up like a little girl in 5th grade. Oh, it hurt my feelings. I can't take that question. You don't have to be feminine and just call someone a name. Engage with the actual argument. That would be an uncomfortable conversation, Acho.
Yeah, when I heard him say that about Jink, and I just learned today that it should be pronounced like there's a J and not Chink, because I was saying Chink as well. I just thought that was totally hilarious. As you said, he didn't even take the time to research it. And I am having the hardest time figuring out why people don't, or they act as if Joe Biden didn't say, I am going to have a black woman as my vice president, or I'm going to put a black woman on the Supreme Court. We've seen this so many times that they lead with color or what's between her legs, opposed to, I'm going to have somebody on the Supreme Court that I think is very smart, they're educated, they're wise.
She is all that shit.
Yeah.
She actually is all that shit you're talking about.
The vice president who is completely qualified, and then they happen to be a black woman.
Kamala Harris is actually qualified.
But instead,
whoa. According to some, she wasn't.
Yeah. But JD Vance is qualified to be president. And apparently JD Vance is going to be qualified to be president too. Right?
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Seeing even here, the police department saying they want to increase the department by 30% for women. Why? I want you to put who's qualified in these positions.
That's not how the police works, man. The police pick who the fuck who's going to protect their power. That's how the hiring process works. And that's how you end up with the type of people that you end up with at the police department. That's why you have to diversify the actual police department. The problems in your city is 50 years older than the oldest person who works there. Literally.
Yeah.
Because if the oldest person who works there seen everybody else get hired and all that kind of other stuff, like, listen, if you want to fix policing, it's very clear. Put them under the Uniform Code of Police Justice, just a civilianized version of the Uniform Code of Military Justice. And the police just have a bad mandate. They have a mandate to fuck with people. And if you give low education, low IQ, self-esteem challenged individuals the ability to fuck with people, guess what they're going to do? They're going to fuck with people. They're going to always overstep their bounds every single time. They always looking for extra shit every single time. But see, conservatives are okay with their shit because it happens to black people and not really all that many whites. And that's the type of shit conservatives are okay with. They don't care about equal protection under the law. They just want to be protected by the law and not other people who they don't give a damn about. It's pretty clear that's what there always have been. It's not hard.
Yeah, it's about conserving their power in that group. That's for sure.
At the expense of your freedom.
Absolutely.
Positions. So they can't blame people for questioning when they see certain people why they're in that position when they are actually leading with why they are putting people in those positions.
Who the fuck has ever said that about a white dude that's fucking leading anything? No. Who has ever fucking said, why is this dude in charge of this shit? He don't even know what the fuck he's doing. But it's always women and black people that they do this with, but they never do this with these fucking people who are white.
Nope. And they're not supposed to.
Then listen, they never ask these white women about doing NBA analysis, NFL analysis. Never. It's only a problem when it's a black person. Every time. It's only a problem when it's a black person. Unbelievable.
Unreal. Go ahead.
Opposed to the fact that they are qualified or the merit. I don't even understand why people are offended with someone questioning that. I'm going to wonder as well, why do we have this little bitty white woman, Asian woman, whatever, as a
stupid bitch? Listen, man, at the end of the day, why the fuck you think we needed affirmative action? Because people was being skipped the fuck over who was actually fucking qualified.
That
was just something that we made up.
That was
and
the
it's
whole.
Not like they were just jumping into the neighborhood and just start vacuuming people up and putting them in jobs either. You still had to be qualified, and it wasn't even that many people that was being picked.
That was the whole thing behind it.
Through that system,
and they turned that around.
Seeing one was one too many. Yeah. Every time seeing one was always one too many for them.
And the problem was when you were getting in there, many were actually being successful. That was one of the biggest problems you had with those who were starting to do well under very difficult circumstances. That was a problem. That was the problem. Because a lot of people are entitled to say, I should be there. Entitlement. I remember I was dealing with this one company, TIA Cref. You know, they were a big insurance company. We were putting a lot of real top people in there. And I just remember, you know, they had chosen a black president to come in there, and people started bucking and getting upset. And I had a good friend of mine who actually moved up pretty nicely in the in the company. And he was a brother, very much like yourself. I knew him for a long while, and they were getting very upset at. And he was supposed to be somewhat more of a more open DEI-based company where this was deeply encouraged, because you had chosen a black president like Chanel, who was chosen for not MasterCard. I'm sorry, why am I forgetting? I'm getting a little older these days, so forgetting some things. But Ken Chanel, who had taken over a major financial services company. But anyway, you saw people were getting upset about blacks moving up, and these people were highly qualified. American Express. I'm sorry, that's exactly correct. RM, and they were moving up very well, and this was creating some angst. This is creating some angst. People were not liking it, and it wasn't because these people were DEI hires. It's just like, I'm entitled for this. What is he doing here? He's got the experience, the education background, and everything, but I should be here because I'm entitled to this. I'm from this blue blood family that's been here for since the revolution, and my people have been in part of this this structure for so long. I should be in this position, or others who I've been around for XYZ amount of time, and this should just be mine. I'm entitled to this. The whole entitlement piece is very big, and that was a problem. That was a steady ongoing problem.
So before we go over this Anton Daniels clip here, I'm going to address what Dollar Wheel just put here in the actual chat. Insecure whites sometimes hire unqualified minorities to avoid losing competition to qualified minorities. They do that shit all the time. Now, those type of minorities, those Steven from Django type dudes who they actually hire, happy to be there, super burn happy, proud of their position, know it's really orchestrated, and they're infinitely happy to be in that position.
Well, hold on a second. I want to say something about Steven of Django, Steven of Django's. Steven was running that plantation.
Yes.
So he was he was running that play. He was sharper running that plantation than the white boy was there, but he was underneath them playing the game, but he ran that plantation. That's how they got that. See, they have those Negroes like that, but as long as you are
ever got shot,
kissing their
that dude was
tail,
fine because you got to go back to being a regular dude.
no man. So he ran that play. So that was a
cut out
example. You know, and was tearing his own people out the frame to make sure that he stayed there. That was key. Go ahead.
Yep. Yep, we sure do. Because once you change it from color to competence, they're not competent motherfuckers at work. I've seen it everywhere. The military, no. It's not even what that is. So now what we're going to do now is we're going to respond to or play some of this Anton Daniels, whose whole job is to make money off of Black culture, but claim to be a fucking conservative while living in a liberal state. No, a liberal area in a blue state, right? Don't live out in the middle of nowhere, because there's plenty of middle of the nowhere areas in Michigan. You don't have to choose Detroit as a conservative. Plenty of places.
This is so typical. Go ahead.
There's a person who owns land in northern Michigan. Trust me, if you want to not be around Black people, northern Michigan is where you need to go. You don't even have to go 50 miles north of Detroit if you actually want to be just surrounded by whites. So let's see what this guy has to say. This is Anton Daniels' channel. Yes, so again, not a conservative, very reminiscent of people who are stupid as shit, who don't know shit about conservatism. But these people just think that conservatism is just criticizing bad Black culture. Well, what happens when Eminem is making the same fucking music that Tupac was making? People are buying that shit. Like, come on, dude. Let's go come full circle at some point. Well, let's see what he has to say about this Charlie Kirk death and trying to respond to Barack Obama's comments.
Horrific murder in Utah of a conservative activist. Are we at an inflection point in our country? Where are we today?
Well, we are certainly at an inflection point, not just around political violence, but there are a host of larger trends that we have to be concerned about. I think it is important for us at the outset to acknowledge that political violence is not new. It has happened at certain periods in our history. But it is something that it is anathema to what it means to be a democratic country. And regardless of where you are on the political spectrum, what happened to Charlie Kirk was horrific and a tragedy. What happened, as you mentioned, to the state legislators in Minnesota, that is horrific. It is a tragedy. And there are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The central premise.
Did y'all hear what I hear? It sounded like the audience was kind of giggling and laughing. Let me rewind it like 10 seconds. Give me a second.
There are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The central premise of...
Maybe it was something else happening in the audience. I don't know. Let's hear what else you got to say.
Our democratic system is that we have to be able to disagree and have sometimes really contentious debates. without resort to violence.
He's 100% correct on that point. I'm not necessarily an Obama fan. I do believe that Obama was not the worst president in my lifetime. I think that crown probably either goes to George Bush II or the Biden administration. The ruling is set out on the Biden administration. We still seeing the fallout from that. They just
What the fuck? I mean, it's unreal.
Now, I do agree with him. Bush Cheney was that administration before the first Trump administration.
Yeah.
Before the first Trump administration, I would agree with him there.
Yeah.
I mean, because the stuff that's happening now with people being fired from TV and stuff like Phil Donahue when he didn't go along with the Iraq War,
they're gone. He was, and they made sure that he was gone right before the war because they did not want to have people in that audience with Phil, prosecuting these people on, online or on television, prosecuting that war. They're live right there. He thought that would have built a little too much, opposition. So we've seen this before. This is nothing new.
Now, what I like here is that he recognized why Bush is bad, but he don't recognize why Trump is not bad. Because here's the thing. That losing 750,000 jobs from April of 2008 till January of 2009, those were real jobs leaving the country. Those were jobs being lost every month.
Real jobs.
Jobs that was leaving.
And you heard
this is on top of the Hurricane Katrina and trying to privatize Social Security and trying to raise retirement age and just all types of stuff. But let's keep going.
The jobs over the last year from 900 down to 911,000 jobs. But as far as the point that Obama is making right now, he's absolutely right. There's no place for political violence on both sides. And when somebody loses.
This is not a both sides issue. It is a one side issue. One side foments violence. One side is Second Amendment gun-toting people who want to open carry in public. That's not the left, dude. It's not the left. There is no both sides. Okay. When you hear the word both sides, they mean primarily the right wing.
Yeah, that is exactly what it is. And when they've looked at the numbers and they've looked at exactly where the killings and the violence and so forth has come down, we're looking at over 75% of what we see is coming from that side by far.
So let's keep going.
Is their life, which is one of the reasons why people are holding all of these extreme liberals accountable.
Where are these extreme liberals at?
They cannot identify them.
Okay,
they cannot identify them.
So again, let's play the game. When you hear the word both sides, they mean primarily right wing. When they say extreme leftists, they can't point them out because there is no left wing equivalent to Michael Savage. There is no left wing equivalent that's allowed to be on the public airwaves. There is no equivalent. There is no equivalent.
It is a tragedy. It's horrific, no matter who you are and what you stand for. I would never advocate for somebody to lose their life just because I disagreed with them.
I mean, nobody is saying that. And no one has said that.
No
what
one
we're
is
talking
saying
about is the type of hatred that is being fomented by Charlie Kirk. All the crazy and horrific things that he said during this live stream that Jason Whitlock said that there need to be some additional context to. There's no additional context to what he was doing. He was just purely nakedly trolling these actual groups of people that he didn't think were American citizens, nor who didn't think that they were even worthy of actual protection from the actual government. So when a conservative tells you about this far left, there is no far left in this country. There is no far left. And they don't have any power. And they're not on the media. And here's the thing. The conservatives own liberal media, not the other way around. The Roberts brothers, who's from Mississippi, they own NBC. And, dude, bro.
Keep going, MOT.
And it's funny because not only are they advocating for it, but the propaganda machine continues to work wonders in that they chopping up Charlie Kirk's speeches, people that's never listened to or watched Charlie Kirk.
See this cone shit? Like, we just played to you all the shit that he said. Now watch this dude try to make it look like, oh, these are just clips. You need to take them in full context.
Probably haven't even heard of Charlie Kirk in their life. All of a sudden, they now have become experts on what Charlie Kirk has said. And, you know, I wish Obama would have said something earlier, but, you know, Obama only pops out when apparently he got to do a speech or he's probably getting a paid gig.
Paid gig. Did this guy understand that this man was just president of the United States?
Bill Clinton was the best. He did cuts, but didn't increase the debt. Actually, he brought a big ass surplus, and George Bush gave it away as soon as he got in office.
That's exactly what happened.
He gave it away.
That's exactly what happened.
That's what I'm saying, Rat. Like it's all the same. Oh no, you didn't know anything about Charlie Kirk. You know, you're just taking him out of context. You got to listen to him in context. Like, nah, we heard what was going on.
And that's the cover that these guys want to put on it.
But they don't have a problem lying to your face and saying this type of crazy ass shit in person. It's nuts.
But when you play it straight here, you play it straight out, you hear it. I mean, remember, he was on his podcast just ripping this stuff on a regular and consistent basis.
Like this is who he was as a person. This is how he acted when he went most places. And people don't want him to be judged by what he said. He's being judged by the content of his character. But they want him to be judged by the color of his skin. Isn't that crazy?
But that's precisely what the deal is. That's precisely what that is. Precisely.
Yeah, so let's see what else he has to say.
And he drops it on his YouTube channel. But he's not president anymore, so I guess it really doesn't matter. But the fact of the matter is that no matter who you are, no matter what you stand for, if you have an opinion on something, regardless of whether I agree with you or disagree with you, you do not deserve to lose your life. And people need to really, really be mindful of that. And so we've gotten to a point where everybody is so sensitive, butthurt, anything that anybody says.
Who the fuck call people snowflakes all the time? Well, who does that? Nagone? Who calls people snowflakes all the time?
That's
going on here?
That's their favorite term. That's their favorite term. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Martin Luther Kirk. These fucking Kirk twerkers, man. These fucking Kirk twerkers, man. A whole Kirk twerker.
Oh my God.
It bothers you. You think that you can just lash out. They celebrating CEOs losing their life. They, talking negative.
That CEO who lost his life in New York City, they tried to charge the dude with terrorism charges. You know that shit wasn't gonna fucking fly.
Nope.
About the white woman and making everything racial. And so, if you guys are going to, when I say you guys, I'm talking about these political figures like Obama's and stuff. If they're going to have a conversation, I think that they need to start having a conversation proactively and telling they side to shut the fuck up and stand down because.
Dude, the left doesn't have a voice in this country versus the right. The only reason why you claim that you're on the right, because you don't have to defend your point of view. You can't debate anything without the fucking culture war. You need the black culture war to exist.
That's
You need
exactly
black
correct.
people fucking up to exist.
That's what he surfs on.
Yes,
That's what this guy
this
surfs
dude's
on.
whole platform is about talking shit about black culture and then pretending he's above it all by making money off of it.
I mean, well, that's their model. That's their model. That's their business model.
They are the ones that are inciting all of this political violence. And now that we've seen that the actual shooter was in a relationship with their roommate, which happened to be a trans person, and they, you know, we got the text messages, and it seemed as though the person had been radicalized and obviously, you know, had become so left-leaning that they felt like they needed to take Charlie Kirk's life. Nobody is actually going back and retracting the fact that they thought that it was conservative. Just because his dad was conservative does not mean that he was conservative.
Hold on one second.
Let's hear a little bit more.
Hold on one second. But this supposed gay person or trans person wasn't out there firing any guns and wasn't out there doing anything radical. This guy didn't. This man hasn't even implicated this person in this.
See,
but yet you have your Bruce Jenners, your Kylie Jenners, and all these people. Even Nick Fuentes, who everybody knows is a fanatic, and the rest. I mean, you know, no one speaks about those folks, but here they are trying to say something about this guy here with the gay person. I mean, it's you know, the smell test that these guys have. It's hard. They're having a hard time shaping this into the shape that they want, and then this is a real problem for them. No gay Republicans, you know, Caitlyn Jenner and all them out front, all over the joint. The guy with the who's the guy with the pink hair? The gay dude with the pink hair. I forget what this guy's name is, but you know, another big gay guy on the left. You know, I mean, excuse me, on the right, out there, all out front, pink hair, talking smack about.
Say it again,
black
Mike.
women.
LGBT in the middle of conservatives in Utah. Full of Mormons.
Yeah, okay.
Destiny. Did you talk about?
No, I'm not. No. No, I'm not talking about Destiny per se. I'm talking about someone else. He's got pink hair and he looks like a female. We're not talking about Destiny. But this guy's on the right. This dude's on the right. So they have a lot of these people there, but they play it off and they play it down like they ignore them. Like they don't want to say that these people are there. They don't want to. They bring them out when they want to, and then they put them back in.
Milo Yiannopoulos?
No. I'll remember this guy's name. I remember this guy's name. He's sucker laid, but he's out there. You know.
Here's the thing. Like I want to know when he became conservative, because when you got money and you don't want to pay for shit, I don't give a fuck about your conservatism. If that's when you become a conservative, is when you get money and you don't want to pay for certain things, and man, fuck your conservatism. Conservatism has a very Jeffree Star.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Excellent, Barbaric. That's it right there. That's it. That's it, Barbaric. Nice. Noise. Right there. Yeah, right there.
So it's like this, okay? You can't sit down and Anton Daniels and have him talk about history when it comes to conservatism. Because throughout history, your enemy has been white fucking conservatives. You can't pick a time period in history that's good for black conservatives where white conservatives wasn't trying to wipe your ass off the fucking map. There is no time period that you could pick for that, right? Yes, let's keep going. There is no radical left. When they say both sides do it, that means they're criticizing the right. The right always threaten violence all the fucking time. These people wanted to threaten a goddamn civil war because Charlie Kirk had got killed. Again, the right is wrong as a culture. Doesn't matter what they talk about. They're wrong as shit on everything. Society. And here's the thing. If you're so much of a fucking conservative, why the fuck do you live in Detroit? Again, political freeloader.
More of what Obama has to say, y'all.
Wow.
And
It was a little slow to clap, though, on the low.
And when it happens to some, but even if you think they're quote unquote on the other side of the argument, that's a threat to all of us. And we have to be clear and forthright in condemning it. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't have a debate about the ideas that people who were victims of political violence were promoting. And so I've noticed that there's been some confusion, I think, around.
Oh, here we go. Please stop the video, Anton Daniels. Give us some words.
This lately.
Here we go.
And frankly, coming.
Yes, the right side that you on would kill your black ass in a fucking heartbeat if they didn't need your black face pushing this white fucking conservatism. It would kill your black ass in a fucking heartbeat.
Exactly.
From the White House and some of the other positions of authority that suggest, even before we had determined who the perpetrator of this evil act was, that somehow
they have found a person within a day or two. So, but let's hear what he got to say.
Now, we're going to identify an enemy. We're going to suggest that somehow that enemy was at fault. And we are then going to use that as a rationale for trying to silence discussion around who we are as a country and what direction we should go.
No, and as usual, Obama is on the wrong side of the argument, and this is what I always, hate about these type of discussions, is because he's trying to act like the person who they identified as the killer was not radicalized, was not an extreme liberal, was not.
Okay. Says Jimmy Kimmel gets to be fired. I think you should be fired. No one has said this person been radicalized by the fucking left. Like, this is where did this come from?
And there's no evidence whatsoever to even support this.
But
none of that is even none of that's there.
Listen, told you about these high-powered rifles in the hands of fucking civilians, okay? You need to be trained on this shit. It's literally made so that way anybody can pick up these actual instruments of destruction and kill someone. That's what it's designed for. The product was used with that scope. It was used in the way it was meant to be used.
Yes, it was.
There is one very side of the equation who pushes unlimited ammo, unlimited guns. You can't claim that's a left-wing thing. You just can't.
No, because the left wing is really not. The left wing is not really in. They're not. It's not a gun culture. The left is not a gun culture. The gun nuts. You certainly have people who are on the left who have weapons, who have guns. That's for sure. So you can't say that they're walking around unarmed. But as far as pushing, this weaponry and automatic weapons and silencers and all this kind of craziness, who's pushing that? Who's pushing that? Who's pushing that? Who's the gun culture people? Who classically has been the gun culture people?
Yeah, Amir, like, the problem that we have with conservatives is just that, one, they don't live in conservative areas, but somehow want to fight to make every other place as non-functional as the people that they purport to actually be around. All conservatism is performative, not practical. It's just not that hard to understand.
In a relationship with a trans person, which I know that Obama is a huge advocate for the alphabet community people, and that you shouldn't condemn extremities when it comes to people advocating for violence against somebody else that they don't agree with politically or their ideologies, right? And so again, this is the type of thing that I absolutely hate. Like,
dude, you don't understand the side of the political divide that you're on. Your side always advocates violence. Always advocates fucking violence. When they wanted to take down the Civil War monuments, guess what they was threatened with? Violence and terrorism and bomb threats. When they wanted to take down symbols of actual American terrorism. It's only one-sided. I don't get how these people can be this fucking stupid when it comes to basic American history.
He has not talked about any of the right-wing violence that we've seen that's killed people in political office currently. He hasn't talked about any of the right-wing violence that we've seen going on in the schools and shootings and so forth.
Yes.
He said nothing. But he's mostly talking about the left.
Thoughts and prayers and all this crazy shit. It's like,
it's what are you talking about? Or how do you like to say Motivo? What's going on here?
Yeah.
What's going on here? This is just us bringing up BS. This stuff is going on currently. You have nothing to say. Zero. Unreal.
Larry H., I would say I have to agree with you. The reason why the Charlie Kirk thing is a bad thing is because conservatives are never supposed to feel any type of punishment for the things they actually do in real life. That's why it's a problem. And it isn't Charlie Kirk that's the problem either. There's a whole side of this that's up and down the airwaves that do an offshoot of what Charlie Kirk does and what he was talking about all the time. Very well funded. Because the actual outgoing of sympathy for Charlie Kirk isn't because of who he is, it's because who was paying him for him to do what he was doing. The money was paying. The money is going to force you to actually feel sorry for this guy, which I think has done the opposite of it. By the way, dude's not a statesman. This shit has never happened in American history. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, you see who's pushing a certain agenda here. So, he's being used. He's a tool. It's a tool that's how they're utilizing him. I hope people don't miss that.
And they hurried up and married him and got him the fuck out of there.
Oh, great example. Just like Mike V said, where was Anton when the Wolverine Watchman, when he took over the state capitol over there in Michigan, and had plans on grabbing a hold of the governor, putting her on their own mock trial, and then executing this person. The FBI had inside. They had inside plans on this, and they wrapped those dudes up, man, like rats in a bag. I mean, they just snatched them up. But this was their plan. No word about this at all. Where is this on? I mean, come on, man. I mean, this is ridiculous. Anyway, go ahead.
We playing games here. We're playing games here. A person was killed because of their political opinion and because they were debating and influencing and impacting young people to go back to traditional values, and people that didn't agree with it and had been radicalized, especially in these liberal universities, had become so extreme that they're willing to take some
Orem, Utah is not an extremely liberal university. What are you talking about?
There is no
3,000% white. What are you talking about?
It's in a blood red area.
Yes.
Blood red. With many Mormons going to that school. This is, they're on the level of BYU. What is this guy even talking about? But yet in his state, once again, you had a black legislator who literally had to come in with the brothers armed to the teeth, strapped like bamboo, walking her in and out of there, worrying about what these people were gonna attack her. That's the only reason why they didn't step in, because they saw a bunch of brothers
What about January 6th? Didn't they show how they stalled problems in January 6th? Didn't they show how they did that?
Found bombs.
Because it was just Antifa, right?
I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, it's just madness. And they sit here, they don't say they don't acknowledge any of this. And it's still it's still laying out here right now. Still murders have gone on right during literally during when Charlie was killed and then after. And then you want to talk about this, but all of a sudden we see some young, I don't want to say anything else, but a young brother gets hung. Gets hung in AB. Gets hung. Yeah. Under very strange circumstances. Right after all this. Black universities threatened. I mean, come on, man.
The very next day, suicide. Right?
You know, black schools on alert. You know, some white man walking through the campus talking about, what do you think will happen to you after you die, and all this craziness. They snatched this guy up. I mean, what are these people? Anyway,
what they do whenever that happens, Nago, what they do is they try to troll your mouth shut and try to start talking about the black community and the outcomes of that before you start criticizing, whites type of nonsense.
No, like I said, there was one other brother. I'm not going to mention him here, but maybe if these guys had talked a lot more about what are the problems going on with these white youths and how they're running around America shooting up the joint, maybe this guy would still be here if they would have concentrated a bit more on their community. Very serious critique that none of them want to look at.
Yeah.
Somebody else's life for it. That don't got nothing to do with a debate. The debate was happening on campus when Charlie Kirk got shot.
And that's a mistake as well. And so, look,
that wasn't a debate. He was running his culture war bullshit in the middle of fucking nowhere with literally no pushback. That's what that is. Dude, if he wanted to debate people, he know how to debate people. He just, every time he went to the UK and actually debated, he got destroyed every single time. Because if you don't have a track record of trying to solve any problem, you're going to try to talk and point your way through those actual debates, and you're going to get crushed every single time.
Took him out to Oxford, young redhead white dude and white girl, just kind of, they served him they literally served him his tail quarters on a platter. I mean, it was just, come on, man.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Yep. Obviously, I didn't know Charlie Kirk. I was generally aware of some of his ideas. I think those ideas were wrong. But that doesn't negate the fact that what happened was a tragedy and that I mourn for him and his family. He's a young man with 2 small children and a wife who obviously, and a huge number of friends and supporters who cared about him. And so we have to extend grace to people during their period of mourning and shock. We can also, at the same time, say that I disagree with the idea that the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was a mistake. That's not.
Now, see, this is something that Anton Daniels, I would pay him $100,000 if he can explain that. Explain Charlie Kirk's point of view on the Civil Rights Act as a fucking conservative. Why don't you tell me why was it needed in the first place? It's because America couldn't follow its own damn directions when it came to the country. That they need to come out with a whole Civil Rights Act to get some of these states to behave properly, and then they decided to get rid of it, staying conservatives, right?
And you have to understand these Civil Rights Acts. You had the Civil Rights Act of 66, and I'm talking about 1866. Okay, we're going to go all to the Civil Rights Act of 79, I believe it was, in 1879. You had the Civil Rights Act of 1896, I believe. Once again, these were all in the 19th century that were kind of like shut down. It didn't come around again until until we had Brown versus Board of Ed, and then 64, and then 1964 after. So you had these all these things occurred after slavery. That's the history that was going on for quite a while. And then you get this kid, this 32-year-old walking in here saying this madness. I mean, it's it's kind of unbelievable, kind of unbelievable. But I have to give Obama a lot of credit how he just just really skillfully handled this. He handled this well.
Yeah, I mean, Charlie Kirk wasn't a good dude, man. He probably was a good person off stage without the cameras on, but what he had to do as a profession was not good. It was not positive.
Wasn't good. Too bad.
It just wasn't. And for people to say, "Oh, you're just taking him out of context," it makes what Charlie Kirk did so much more evil. When people say, "Oh, you're taking him out of context," I mean, because the right wing love gaslighting people. Oh, they love doing it.
That was their thing, and I believe he would have come later on in life to retract on all that. But like I said earlier,
like they always do. Like
that's the tragedy. That's the tragedy because that was taken from him. And
trust me, if he was just shot in the arm rather than the neck, he probably would have changed his tune.
Yeah, he may have looked back. He may have looked back and said, "Hold on a second, let's take another look at this." But
Yeah. Had he would have lived through this, he would have changed his tune on a lot of stuff because he doesn't understand the stuff that he says actually hurts some people, and he didn't care about what he said about some people, right?
And remember, they were taking in an awful lot of money.
Yes.
An awful lot of money. 31, 32 years old, you're taking in over $100 million in this kind of stuff coming in. That's a lot of cake. A lot of dust. A lot of dust coming down.
Yeah, let's keep going here.
That's not me politicizing the issue. It's making an observation about who are we as a country. I can say that I disagree with the suggestion that my wife or Justice Jackson does not have adequate brain processing power.
See, now he's taking it out of context because
what the fuck are you? What? We heard what he said.
Taking it out of context. You see that?
This is what I mean by conservatives, bro. Like, this is what I mean by dudes need to be infinitely fucking stolen. What the fuck are you talking about?
But that's pure, direct, pure, unadulterated shine bonery at its worst. There it is right there. Look at this. Listen to this obscene shine bone.
There's a context problem.
Context? No. This guy's out of context. It's unbelievable.
I mean, man, just another automatic stole on productions, man. The fuck is this dude talking about?
Oh my god. Oh my. Oh my
man,
god.
so let's see how he cleans this up. If he cleans it up. I don't think he can.
Because he God. All right. I'm not gonna do this.
You need to. No, dude. You actually do need to clean this shit up.
I don't believe
Lord.
there's an at the same time in this type of situation, because I think that when somebody gets killed for their opinion, regardless of whether you agree with them or not, that we first need to address the issue when it comes to radicalization of the people that feel as though he should be dead for his opinion. Regardless of where you stand on a political spectrum, it's not at the same time when somebody gets killed. It's we need to address the issue with the fact that y'all can't handle losing in a debate, regardless of where you stand when it comes to your opinions on the things that somebody says that you don't agree with. Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the page.
Fuck out of here.
Hell, this dude, man.
Stop
Getting
short
a
of
hole.
an actual explanation of what the fuck he was talking about.
Hell, this dude getting a hole, man. Anyway, that's absolutely horrible. But anyway,
and that's what makes Charlie Kirk look even worse. Is by having these individuals lie about what we just heard and think that there's some secret, up, down, left, right context that you're going to hear about that shit. Like, nah, man, he meant what he said. And he meant what he said the way that he said it. If this dude was in an educational setting, he would be thrown out of it. If he was in the corporate world, he would be thrown out of that too.
Yeah.
No. Anyway, man, y'all should have did. Now, I do disagree with this guy, and I do think there's a mental health component there with him. This is how come I don't criticize Dennis Sperling, because I do think he's mentally ill. So y'all should have just did what Dennis Sperling did. It's just not even cover it and pretend like it didn't happen.
Well, now he's trying to.
That's what these motherfuckers should have did.
Well, now he's trying to change.
The best option was it's pretending it never happened.
Well, now he's trying to change his tune a little bit. Now he's trying to change his tune. Well, this black person, this is. I mean, it's just the guy's schizoid. He's got to be all over the place because his grift is his grift has got to shift. So he's a real problem. We'll deal with him later. But that guy is just wow. Oh man, that's a tough one.
Because there's no live stream of him explaining his conservatism anyway, right? You're just conservative for some secretive reason because you don't want to spend tax money on X, Y, Z, and then you turn around and you don't have shit to say about tax cuts and breaks for wealthy companies. Nothing to say. Brain completely turns off when it comes to discussing it. Right?
Until you know what the deal is. Man.
I was saying that too, man. Damn, that dude aged fast. Like after he got out of the White House. Jesus, man, that dude. Man. Such a young dude when he went in, man. He was all grayed up by the time he left.
And he was dealing with many issues. He lived dog years in that White House. I mean, he lived dog years. I mean, one of the things I saw, just one of the most striking pictures I'll say. I'm just a little bit off, but it's still relatable. Look at the picture of President Lincoln when he first went into the White House, and look at him, the same year that he got assassinated.
Oh man, Lincoln looked bad.
Look at that man.
Man, Lincoln looked man.
Jeez. It almost, you could tell it's him, but the way it looked like they literally put him into a smokehouse and dried him out. Like,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. He is a good attorney, but I don't get the playing dumb online and trying to be pro-black and all that shit. I don't get that shit as an attorney. I've never met an attorney that even fucking acts like that online. I think he's the first one I've ever met, ever. Because normally, like once you cross that Rubicon, that whole our community shit goes out the fucking window.
yeah, but his personal injury business, but with respect to the grift that he's running, are totally separate. They're two separate things, and the grift that he's running here is obscene. It's obscene. You know, it's obscene. Given the fact that he made a lot of money from a racialized, almost civil rights case against himself, where the police hemmed him up when he was walking into his office and said, "Nigga, what are you basically doing here?" and hemmed him up pretty heavy, and he sued them and got a big settlement out of that.
Yes, he did.
And now he's walking around saying it's unbelievable some of the stuff this guy's pulling.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what Negroes will do. Very disturbing.
Roosevelt, thank you for the $5. He said, Anton is the dumbest man on YouTube. Plenty of content to pick apart his dumb mind. I mean, but it's like he needs bad black people in order for him to exist. Like, as much as he's conservative, I've never seen a conservative just super tied to liberal fucking shit, right? I mean, this relationship goofiness and all this other pretending to be conservative, just a historical conservatism, it's just fucking stupid. There's literally nothing to debate because I don't expect people who have that level of conservatism to even know anything about their actual history. They just are conservative because they just fucking are. That's how you kind of have to leave it, man.
Yeah.
But these people out here, Kirk twerking, man, and pretending that we didn't hear what we heard, and there's some additional context. Like, man, I like that. Oh, that's crazy.
Insane.
Shonda, I agree with you. Bought and paid for is what it boils down to. He's likely not the only one.
Definitely not. And character speaks volumes? Yes. But a lot of people don't have character. Kirk twerking.
Yo, what's going on, Spitz Logic? Oh, yeah, man.
Black Americans are supposedly disappearing in New York. Absolutely wacky. That's crazy.
AB Media. Rest in peace, big bro.
Yeah, those unconscionable clowns.
Oh, this fucking Kirk twerking motherfuckers, man. It's like, God damn.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Like, man, like, bro, like you I mean, you can't be out here. Like, it's almost like a guy to looking like a damn fool, and they're just hitting every rung all the way down to the bottom.
It's like they have a talent. They have a talent for it.
Yes, they have a talent for making the wrong decision.
Oh man,
Kirk is not a person to be out here twerking for. That dude was sacrilegious, not religious. Okay,
not religious.
That dude didn't care about any of that. Dude, that dude talked about he didn't have empathy. He thought empathy was a made-up word.
And you're calling yourself a Christian. I mean, that's
what I'm saying. And it's like,
incredible.
Yeah.
Mulatto Vanguard, ABB, these guys.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did. These are the unconscionable shines that you're looking at. I mean, these guys are sad. I mean, they're pitiful, but But at the end of the day, that's that's what it is. That's what it is, man. That's what it is.
Yes, like nobody got that Mike Brown stuff on tape that he said, because he was saying some outrageous things about Trayvon and Mike Brown.
And
outrageous.
But that's the deal. That's what we're dealing with.
I'm kind of liking that these dudes are lost, man, because they turned the country around, and in about, I don't know, 8 months, nobody got containers on their actual property when they used to be containered all the way up. So yeah, man, the trucking industry is still pretty messed up over what happened. And all these conservative company owners are real mad at Trump for destroying their business. And I'm like, but he destroyed everything that he touched anyway. So what's the problem? I mean, XC, you can't make it up. It's almost like we have to be lying about these dudes.
You cannot.
We have to be lying.
You cannot make this.
This shit is so dumb. We have to be lying. I just can't believe these people are this stupid. And then he dropped the link. You have a bunch of dumb ass motherfuckers who jump up and like, yeah, man, Charlie Kirk, he was a real one. What the fuck's going on?
Gee, my daddy, man. I'm saying, these guys say whatever they like. I pay them no mind. These guys are these shines are different. There was a time when these guys couldn't have survived and been around.
That's what I'm saying. I brought that up earlier, Spiritual Logic Hope. Like, look, they never covered no Turning Point USA conference. They never covered any of the dumbass shit that he used to consistently say at the CPAC conferences. Oh, he's always said horrific things at CPAC. During this whole entire speech. Nothing with culture war, grift, and nonsense. Every time he spoke there, it was a whole bunch of culture warrior and grift and nonsense.
Wacky is no doubt. You remember? Reminds me of that scene with my man when Leonardo DiCaprio got shot.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're seeing from these guys. Oh my God.
Hashtag Kirk Fortune, man.
Man, it's crazy, man. Oh my God.
Dude, right after listening to the comments, it was like, you just gotta listen for additional context. Like, what are you talking about?
Oh man. Oh,
yes.
man.
Yes, Angry Man is trying to find a way to dodge having legitimate conversations about that street conservative shit, knowing damn well the white conservatives tell bedtime stories about somebody who looks exactly like your motherfucking ass to scare their motherfucking kids to sleep, nigga. What you talking about?
Another highly ridiculous game, but shape shifting from the street conservative to go there to try to morph to that side, where these people have zero regard for niggas like him.
Zero regard,
man. Unbelievable, man. Unfucking.
like, dude, what are you talking about? I was like, Mama, that right there wasn't a bad liberal man you told me about. One of them angry man type niggas, right?
Oh my God.
Oh man.
Oh my God.
Yo.
Oh, you can't make this. Oh
Like-
man.
Like, bro, like these dudes go out and want to swim in the swimming pool right during the tornado warning, man. The fuck is wrong with y'all? Lightning everywhere. Niggas want to swim in the pool. Like, no, bro, this ain't the time to be a conservative, bro. It ain't the time.
Oh,
Not the time.
Oh man.
Fucking wait.
Oh my
This ain't
gosh.
the time to be a conservative.
Man, this is just too much.
Now you got to pretend these people who don't got guns are radical left and they got all this fucking power. Okay. Who on the right wing has lost their job over being wrong about what at what time?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sean. That's what we talk about, man. When he's
crashing,
when he saw Steven saw homie go down. That's what these guys are doing, man. It's
Steven's still in that pain of going back to be a regular ass black.
Yeah, man. He's like, they ain't gonna let me run this thing by myself. I need that man as my cover. Woo, boy.
All right, man. Be on the lookout because there's gonna be a lot of people. Wait, hold on a second. Oh hell no! I don't even think she was there at the memorial.
No. She didn't show. She wasn't there.
No, she wasn't there, right?
She wasn't there. No, she wasn't there.
Okay.
Nope.
But her day's coming. Her day is coming.
Oh, it's on the horizon.
We're gonna be able to.
Oh, it's on the horizon. Yes.
Hey man, Kirk Twerkers 1, Shine Bones 0. The Kirk Twerkers are up.
Kirk Twerkers. XC. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Team, we got the Shine Bones versus the Kirk Twerkers.
Oh man.
They're playing for the Flaming Coon Trophy. The trophy that they're playing for.
And let's see how this ends up after this first period. Yeah, man.
It looks like the Kirk Twerkers have squeaked it out. The Kirk Twerkers 1, the Shine Bones 0.
Oh man.
Oh, these lost ninjas, man. I tell you, man, you're not gonna be able to help these guys.
Nah.
You gotta let these dudes bounce off the concrete, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Let them hit the concrete, man. Don't try pulling these people off these things. Let these dudes go, man.
Oh my god. MOT.
Yeah.
We're going to close this up, brother. This was a good one.
All right, cool. I want to thank you guys. The Kirknocracy.
Kirknocracy. Oh man.
Oh man.
Oh, we gotta close that on that one, man.
Oh man, the bastard kids of BGS, man. Jeez.
Woo.
Talk about a dumb nigga creator, man. Like,
woo.
Damn.
Woo. Woo. No doubt. Woo, child. Woo. Lord.
And next week, we're going to do a PhD breakdown of what they've been covering since Donald Trump became president. Because we got to get on these Trump twerkers. Yeah, man, these TTs, these Trump twerkers, man, who want all these black women out of position so that way things could be worse in the country. And I don't know how a PhD in liberal arts is supposed to fucking benefit from that. I don't know how that works, but maybe they can tell us. So with that said, I want to thank you guys for coming through. I'm the man tomorrow. Just say no to Kirk twerking. You guys have a really nice day.